Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm Patton Oswalt, and you are watching live right now on Prime's YouTube, plus Twitter, TikTok, and if you're watching on my OnlyFans page, please hit that donate button. I need to resurface my deck. I'm Patton Oswalt, and I'm here with some of the cast. The cast is so massive, we had to break them off into smaller groups. So I got the hot group because I'm here with the cast of the new series, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which takes place right after Better Call Saul and right before Breaking Bad. So here, I'm going to introduce them. Some of these names are pretty amazing. Morfydd.
Not bad.
Morfydd.
Morfydd.
Morfydd. Okay, Morfydd.
It's Charlie.
Charlie. God, these names are crazy. Cynthia, Trystan, Maxim, Lloyd, Ema, and Leon. All right. All 8 of these people just had their. Was this everyone's first Hall H experience? Yeah. Wow.
Yes, it was.
Well, they've all talked to our post-crisis counselors, and they're hydrated, and they're ready to answer some questions. But first, I just want to get your reactions. How did it feel to be on stage in Hall H, watching the trailer for the first time and watching how the fans reacted to it, because it was pretty explosive?
Very, very special. Am I talking into this?
Yeah, you're talking to your mics.
It was extraordinary. I mean, I've never been in an auditorium with that many people, that much. I mean, you could feel the vibe from the room.
The bass was so loud on
strong.
all the clips. The
People's energy was
boom, yeah.
Wow.
A little shell-shocked, I think.
A little shell-shocked? Damn. Yeah, well, we're going to show you the trailer in a second, but that is a rich, chocolatey voice on that guy. I'm going to be going to him a lot during this.
I've been eating a lot of chocolate in New Zealand.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So let's let you guys watch what you didn't get to see in Hall H, the new trailer for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Pensábamos que la guerra, por fin, había terminado.
Hoy empiezan nuestros días de paz.
Pensábamos que nuestra dicha sería eterna. Creíamos que la luz nunca menguaría.
El cielo está extraño.
Aquí está Galadriel, el momento que temíamos.
El mal no descansa. Espera.
Más allá de la oscuridad, tentando a la sombra a que nos entierre bajo la montaña.
No tiene un nombre, sino muchos.
¿Has oído hablar de él? ¿Te suena, Sauron?
Si el mal que se alza no encuentra obstáculo, nos alcanzará a todos. Encuentra la luz y la sombra no te encontrará a ti.
¡Juntos podemos salir con vida de esto!
Lucha conmigo.
Todos nosotros debemos decidir quién vamos a ser.
No puede haber confianza entre el martillo y la roca. Al final, uno u otro acaba rompiéndose. Te han contado muchas mentiras de la Tierra Media.
Okay, first off, it looks like you guys got put through the ringer physically. Did you guys show up thinking, oh, I'll be in front of a green blanket, they'll dangle a tennis ball in front of me? You guys are getting thrown in the water and falling up. How much real practical stuff did you guys have to do in this? Was it pretty exhausting?
I think there was a lot. I mean, I think for all of us, we all sort of did one form of training. We would do group sort of stunt training every morning, which started off from the most basic steps to then learning longer fight sequences.
Yeah, you look like you were doing some pretty serious stunts in that. You're swimming away from a burning ship or something. I know that I'm assuming the gigantic monster fish was CGI, but you are in a tank swimming for your life. Like, was this a grueling shoot? What was the experience like overall for everybody?
They have those sort of animals in New Zealand. You can get them.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's great. Well, that must have really worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were really lucky that so much of it was practical. We were actually doing it. And the swimming, we were in this absolutely enormous tank, and I'd never swum in clothes.
Oh,
and I'd
wow.
never swum in a very long dress, and that was quite something.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well that, again, the practical effects look insane. Now there's a bunch of questions. I know you guys have already gone through the grueling Hall H question gulag. However, there are still some more for you guys. Starting with Lloyd. Yes. Oh!
That's me.
Lloyd with the chocolatey voice. Your character is from the island kingdom of Numenor.
Well pronounced.
Did I
you could
pronounce
put a
that
little
right?
R on the end. Numenor.
Numenor. I don't want
one little
Colbert bursting in and kicking me in the teeth. Can you tell us a little bit about Numenor and its history?
Numenor, the island nation of Numenor, is Tolkien.
Sorry, island nation of Numenor.
Yeah, let's get it right. It's Tolkien's Atlantis. And where we find it at the beginning of the series is at the peak of civilization. It's sort of a combination of the Greek, Roman empires, Byzantium. And essentially, if you were to compare them to us today, they're superhuman. They've been, a lot of the lineage is half elven from Elros, and therefore they live a long, long life, 300 years. 350 years. Wow. Incredible mariners. But exactly where we find them is the beginning of potential polarization between a sort of a nationalistic view and a much more loyalty to the elven side of their nature, because they were donated the island by the elves and the Valar for in the first age for fighting on the side of the elves against Morgoth.
The source of a lot of the conflict. Okay, nice. Now, Leon, you play Pharazôn's son, Kemen. Did I say all of that right?
Yeah, you did. Well done.
So what can you tell us about this character?
So Kemen is the son of a very powerful man, the Chancellor, Pharazôn. And I think with the kids of powerful people, sometimes they're determined to match or outdo their parents' accomplishments. And sometimes they feel pretty comfortable to coast. And I feel like he is in the latter category at this stage. He's been born into a golden age. He's had everything he's ever wanted. And he's never really had any reason to question it, I think much to his father's chagrin. Pharazôn is obsessed with his legacy, and Kemen's kind of been a parrot so far because what's going on is working. I'm
glad that trust funders are being represented in Middle-earth. That's beautiful. I'm glad
proud to do
we
it.
finally are giving them some representation. # trust fund love. All right. Emma Horvath.
Hello,
Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Nailing it. Emma, you play Isildur's sister? Did I say that right?
Yes,
Isildur's sister.
Yes.
And
Tap
you
the
play-
R if you can.
Huh?
Tapped R slightly.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, it says you are the artist of the family now. You actually learned how to write Numenorian letters? I mean, did that help you prepare for the role, or?
Yeah, I mean, Eärien is not a character of the body, she's a character of the mind. So my stunt was learning to draw with Daniel Reeve, who, if you don't know, he's a very talented calligrapher and graphic designer, and he created Bilbo Baggins's handwriting, and a lot of the maps and inscriptions, everything you see in the movies, he designed. And there's no Numenorian alphabet yet. We've never seen it, so he had to create it.
Wow.
And my character draws and writes quite a bit. So I would spend 3 hours a week with him, and I learned to write it, and I wrote everyone's name.
Do you feel like you could write words now in Numenorian? Like you could actually write a sentence?
Please don't make me do it.
Okay, well, no,
live.
not now. That'll be for a
There.
future con when someone comes up and goes, excuse me, the curve on this letter is actually incorrect. And, look, you know, I don't want to put you through that now.
It's coming, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Trystan,
Yes, sir.
it gets pretty political on Numenor too. So what can you tell us about your character, Pharazôn, and the role he plays in all of that?
So, Pharazôn is consul to the Queen Regent, Queen Miriel. And he's also head of the guilds. So I guess he is a true servant of Numenor, and his job would be to marry the relationship between the working people of Numenor and the Regency. He's also one of the king's men, so Numenor, even though everybody seems to think that it's an island of, you know, it's a masterclass in social cohesion, there's actually cracks in the foundation. And you have a schism between the faithful, who celebrate and remember their Elvish roots. They can speak Quenya. Yeah. They're okay with accepting. They're very attuned to the spirituality that comes with the acceptance of their own fate, which is death. And then on the other hand, you have the king's men, which are far more numerous in Numenor, of which Pharazôn is one. And so they want to dispense with the old Elvish ways. So they want to speak Ardenaic, which is the language of men. And also as well, they haven't really addressed, you know, what had the gift of the Vala, you know, the gift of dying. They don't believe in that. So for them, it's life is now. You live for now, which makes them very innovative, very forward-thinking. They're modernists. But also as well, there's an existential dread at the kernel there. And I think you see that as well. You see the Numenorian psyche, I think, is embodied when you see Pharazôn, when you see the decadence and the, he's almost like a living statue, dare I say it myself. Yeah. You know, trying to see how he would, if he was to be carved out of stone, what would he look like? You know, and I think...
Already thinking of his legacy.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Now, speaking of Numenor, Charlie Vickers, this is the first time that Numenor, as you said, Tolkien's Atlantis, has been seen on screen. So what was it like to be there on set? How extensive was the set? How much did they actually build that you could kind of react to and experience?
It was massive. I think one of the most amazing things about working on a show like this is you can fully interact with the worlds that your character is living in. I remember getting there on our first day of Numenor, and it's a pretty simple scene where we get off a boat and walk up through a port. Mm-hmm. But just seeing the scale of what was in front of us was incredible. It was a fully interactive city with alleyways down to...
It was like a practical set. You could go wander and get lost and things.
And you could, there was details, like there were tiny little bits of incense burning in the alleyways and little herbs and flowers.
So it even had the scent, like you felt like you were truly visiting the city.
Yeah. I think someone fell into a canal as well at one stage.
Now, Cynthia Adai Robinson?
Correct.
Yes. In that new trailer we watched, we saw your character, Queen Regent Miriel.
Miriel. It's that pesky tapped R again.
Yeah, get this tapped R.
I know.
Well, you say, it is here the moment we feared. That is an incredible line. And the trailer kind of stops for a second so that line can land. Can you tell us anything more about what that line means to Miriel without spoiling stuff? How much can you say about that?
I know we always feel like we have to speak in code a little bit.
Yes,
you're
exactly.
Trying to find
I know you're
diplomatic
walking a tightrope
answer.
right now.
Yes. Well, definitely when viewers tune into the show, they will know exactly what it means.
Okay.
But I think, you know, in terms of where we find Queen Regent Miriel, there is that foreboding sense of, you know, something is about to happen, you know, that sense of worry. And so, you know, we see this civilization at its peak, but there are those sort of rumblings in the streets and just a sense of impending, you know, maybe it's doom, but just a sense that something is happening.
And she's wired into that.
Very much so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it is a great line.
Yeah, it is. That's a really cool line. Now, Morfydd, I wanted to ask you about this because there have been some, I've been walking around, and this has happened to other friends of mine who have done superhero films, fantasy series. There's been some stunning cosplay already for Galadriel. And I know that the fans are really excited to see you kind of step into the shoes. So these two questions: how was it preparing to take on such an iconic role? And this has happened to a couple of friends of mine. Have you seen any cosplays where you're like, oh, that costume's actually better than the one I wore? Like, that's happened to a couple of friends. Like, we should use that one. So what's that experience been like?
It's been just a dream. You know, I grew up with these books and these stories, and definitely pretended to be like most of the characters in the films at different times. I think there's probably some embarrassing video footage of that somewhere. The cosplay is just incredible. And actually, when we were making Galadriel's armor, Kate Hawley, who designed it all, she loves all that stuff, and she was like, I'm going to make it difficult for them. I'm going to make them really like have to work. And so when I see this cosplay, I'm like, I know what a feat it is. And yeah, it's such an honor.
Right. That's right, because they've got to build it, they've got to reverse engineer it from stills or like a 2-second clip. They've got to somehow try to put that together.
Yeah, there was one person who made the armor just from an image, which,
wow,
just incredible.
Okay, well, Maxim, you play the iconic Isildur? Isildur. Oh, the which fans are very, very excited to see on screen. So what was that moment like when you learned that, oh, you got the role? Like, how did you feel?
I was in a field in Croatia shooting another show, caked in blood, and my agent called me and was like...
So hang on, you were shooting a show. You were
shooting a different
just in a field caked in blood.
I was shooting a different show.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's an important detail. Don't... In future interviews, don't leave that part out. Don't go, I was in a field in Croatia caked in blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Mention the show.
And yeah, my agent called me and was like, you're going to be in Lord of the Rings. And I was like silent. And then he was like, by the way, there's an NDA to sign, so you can't tell anyone. So I celebrated by myself in a hotel room, and it was a bit surreal. But it's, an amazing experience with such an amazing cast as well. And we've all become like a family, I guess.
Yeah. It's such a massive group. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm playing his father, Elendil, so when he says it's like a family, it's a joyful family.
It's a very joyful family.
He's not a problem child in any way, shape, or form. I just want to put that on the record.
It is a complex relationship between father and son, as all relationships between fathers and sons are.
All I can say is, don't always blame the parents.
Right. This was a really difficult panel to get ready for because there's so much I want to talk about, and there's so much we can't talk about. Thank you all for walking this tightrope with me, and I just wanted to ask you, like, what can audiences expect when we finally get to see the Rings of Power on September 2nd?
I think it's going to really run an emotional gamut, because even for us, we finally recently have started to see some of the footage ourselves, because we also hadn't seen much, even though we were there and we made it. But you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna be shocked, you're gonna be in awe. And to me, the best stories really capture the full range of human emotion. So I think you're gonna have all the feels, is what I would say.
Well said.
Yeah. Wow. Well, hey, that was amazing, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. September 2nd can't come quickly enough. Oh, hey, you know what? A little birdie just told me that we should watch this trailer one more time, so roll it again. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Have a great September 2nd, tune in. Have a great whatever you're going to do for the rest of your day.
See ya.
Pensábamos que la guerra, por fin, había terminado.
Hoy empiezan nuestros días de paz.
Pensábamos que nuestra dicha sería eterna. Creíamos que la luz nunca menguaría.
El cielo está extraño.
Aquí está Galadriel, el momento que temíamos.
El mal no descansa. Espera.
Más allá de la oscuridad, tentando a la sombra a que nos entierre bajo la montaña.
No tiene un nombre, sino muchos.
¿Has oído hablar de él? ¿Te suena, Sauron?
Si el mal que se alza no encuentra obstáculo, nos alcanzará a todos. Encuentra la luz y la sombra no te encontrará a ti.
¡Juntos podemos salir con vida de esto!
Lucha conmigo.
Todos nosotros debemos decidir quién vamos a ser.
No puede haber confianza entre el martillo y la roca. Al final, uno u otro acaba rompiéndose. Te han contado muchas mentiras de la Tierra Media.